We're here inside Houses of Parliament in Westminster Hall.
It's been a long day, but we've had the opportunity to interview the MP of Exeter, Ben Bradshaw.
Some of the topics we covered were
women bishops,
gay marriages,
flooding,
cyclists,
the EU referendum,
and many more.
Setting off from a snowy southwest to the bustling scene of Westminster, London is a rather different kettle of fish to our normal reporting routines. Saturated in history, art and culture, Parliament is one of, if not the most momentous buildings in the country, and is synonymous with people's views on the United Kingdom. We met with Mr. Bradshaw's office staff in the central lobby and were escorted to meet Ben.
Could you tell us some of the work that you've been doing in Palestine? I've read that you've visited the Israeli military courts due to the injustice carried out on children who've committed crimes. Could you explain what's actually happening and go into details which Geneva Conventions have actually been breached, as well as those stated into the United Nations Rights of a Child?
Yeah, I'm very impressed with your research. I'm a member of something called the Labour Friends of Palestine, and I was a minister for a period under the last Labour government with responsibilities for the Middle East. So I've visited Israel and Palestine on a number of occasions, and since being in opposition and being on the backbenches, I've had a bit more time to pursue these interests, and I went out on a visit, would have been about 18 months ago now, I think, organised by an organisation called CARBU, which stands for the Council for Arab-British Understanding. If you want to access more details of that visit, we actually wrote a report after the visit that catalogued and outlined what we found there. We visited a number of things. We saw the settlement building that was going on, the illegal Israeli settlement building in the occupied territories. We visited a lot of kind of community projects trying to help and support the Palestinians. But one of the things we did as part of that trip was visit the Israeli military courts, which were, and we went to a juvenile court, which were basically trying young Palestinians who'd been arrested, the overwhelming majority of whom had been arrested on charges of stone throwing. And we were very concerned about how those courts were operating, the transparency, the rule of law, the rights that were given to these children. They were being treated completely differently from how Israeli children would be treated by Israeli courts in Israel proper. And indeed, since our visit, a group of UK judges has also written a very critical report about the operation of the Israeli military courts and called for changes to be made. After our visit, one of the things that we recommended in our report, that the Israeli military courts raise the age of Palestinian criminal responsibility, was actually implemented by Israel. So I think it shows that if you keep the pressure on, that things can change, but it's a very worrying situation overall. We don't seem to be making any progress at all towards a two-state solution, and that's very depressing.
I am here in what has been a very snowy London today. I'm outside the House of Parliament, where we have been to interview Exeter MP Ben Bradshaw. We've been talking about topical issues such as his recent involvement in Palestine, his flood defence and insurance policies that are going on in Exeter with local businesses, gay marriages, women bishops, and what his views are on the government's recent cap on benefits of 1%. He's also talked about Cameron's referendum of the EU. We have just come out of the debate chamber where they've been debating about the crisis in Mali. We are on our way back now to a very cold and dark Exeter. Hopefully we'll get there before 10 o'clock. This is Darius Taylor, of course, speaking on behalf of the second year journalism and political media students at Exeter College.